Hi everybody out there in Artland, this is Karl Altstaetter, and I'm going to show you today how I put together a piece of artwork from the sketch phase all the way to the color phase. So I start out with a rough sketch, and you can see here I use colored pencil and a drafting pencil. It's this kind of thing where it goes in and out, and you use the lead goes in and out, and use a lead sharpener. Pretty typical stuff for comic art. I like to do some of my rougher stuff with color erase pencils. They're really soft, malleable. You get a good line with it. I always refer to it as you get a real loving line with it because it's easy to generate line weights, and you can get a really nice motion to it because just such a soft lead that you can go in there and get all the detail, but yet it's really easy to create forms with. And that's really important when you're trying to create emotion in a character, because you want their pose to represent who they are as a character and have that come through to the person who's seeing it. So what I'll do is I'll draw, as you can see here. I've done the face, done all the guidelines, all the proportioning, the feet, making everything line up. And then I'll put a piece of paper over it, another 11 by 17, and I'll do a cleanup. I'll turn on my light box, and I'll start making a lot of decisions. As you can see, I've started to refine the face, the skull, shoulder pads, the hands, the feet. I'm also adding line weights. You can see right here, trying to create volume and shape using thick and thin. Just as an aside, when it comes to line weights, I use them for two different things. Sometimes I use them, like in this case, to create a sense of layering and depth, so that the pads, the skull head pads, will seem above the character's body. Other times I use it, like for example in this case, where to show the underside of something. So you have to assume if the light is coming from this way, that lines on the top here are going to be thinner and lines down here on the bottom are going to be thicker. And this creates a sense of volume in the character. It's a real simple trick, but it's always really useful, and I don't see a lot of people using it, especially starting out, and I think it's a great thing you can do to really make your artwork and your line art look a lot more professional, and lets people know that you're thinking about the volume of it in your drawings. So another trick I'll use is after I do a drawing like this, I'll see that there may be a problem. In this case, you can see here was the original fist. It wasn't really well defined. It didn't have the right shape and wasn't really fitting on his forearm the way I wanted it to. So I went into this phase to refine it, and as I did that, I noticed that I needed a little bit of extra something to find out what was wrong with it. So I flipped it over. I turned on my light box. The light comes on, and because of the way your mind works and your eye translates images, your eye will often fool you into thinking something is correct. But when you flip it over and turn on the light box, it will immediately show you the tendencies you have towards misproportioning something or having something connect properly. So I'll use that. I'll do a correction of it, make sure everything lines up, and then I'll flip it back over. I'll turn on the light box again and start drawing over what I did as far as a correction on the back. This is a great way and a real easy way to improve your drawings. I know I've talked about it a lot on DeviantArt, but it's just a tried and true method. So once I have the full image together, I'll take that, scan it in, piece it all together in Photoshop, and then I'll lay down flat colors, which I'll have an image up for you. I'll do rendering. In this case, I was going for a sort of an animated cut look as opposed to a fully rendered digital painted look. I wanted it to have the feel of something that could be in an animated TV show, but something that was a little more modeled than that. So I wanted to land somewhere in between. So I went ahead and I added rendering and texture, trying to create volume with color, light, and highlights. Added an eye effect to all the skulls. And then I created a tail for the character in a separate file. And I went ahead and put that in there. Then I also added a sword effect, sort of like a laser sword, or a big chunky lightsaber as I like to call it. Then I placed the character on top of a background that I also created separately. I wanted to give it that effect that this guy is destroying stuff and on the move. As you can see in the background, I shifted I curved the bottom of the piece to give it a sense of motion and elasticity. And then I also did some subtle swoosh elements to give it sort of a sense of movement as well. So thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, drop me a message.